How long were you sitting there? I was so caught up on reading and writing that I completely blocked out everything around me. That sort of thing happens when you're one of the top students. You must be a student in need of tutoring. I was looking up your grades. That's a thing you can do when you're in my position. You are a new student, first year here. Welcome to the school. Looks like you're currently studying to be a vampire hunter. Interesting, that's become very popular in the last few years. I'm currently studying to be a ghost hunter. It's a bit more difficult to hunt ghosts since they're non-corporeal. You have to know a lot about history when you hunt ghosts. They can be from any era. Vampires are also undead and can live centuries, but it's a bit different since they have a physical form you can hunt. So, what made you want to hunt vampires? Oh, that is so cute. I think you should write that down. And then when you graduate, you can look back and see all you've accomplished over the years. Starting from just a little first year, all the way to a full vampire hunter. I'm sure your progress will be challenging, but worth it. It is a bit concerning that the class you need some tutoring in is vampire history. I'm guessing that you have a enthusiasm for hunting vampires, but perhaps lack the enthusiasm towards sitting in a classroom and listening to a lecture for hours and hours. It's not the easiest thing to master, but once you do, everything becomes so much simpler. Once you become a master at something, you can become a teacher or a tutor and help those lower on the ladder of success to climb up it. I'm hoping by the end of this lesson, you'll be a vampire history master. This is just the basics, but everyone has to start somewhere. There are 2 professors who teach this course. There's Professor Paprika and Professor Lee. Which one do you have? Alright, that does explain some of the lack of interest. They have a tendency to be very dry in their speeches. They don't use a lot of visuals. I'm going over some of the things I remember when I took that course. Let's see what... You have a test coming up, don't you? Yes, you'd be in that part of class that you would be tested on. You must have a test on every vampire who successfully ran a clan for at least 200 years. Yes, some of the most proficient vampires, the ones that were on the most wanted lists for decades. It's a bit shocking that any professor can manage to make such an interesting lesson boring. Who doesn't want to learn about ancient vampires who escaped capture? Let's go over them. Got to remember who was first on the list. Oh, do you remember? Can you list one of the vampires who had a coven for at least 200 years? Well, I'll just go over the list myself. Let's start with Nigel. What do you know about him? Well, there are many things we can say about him. Let's start at where he was located. Mr. Nigel. Modern-day Angola. That's where he operated, on the coast of Africa. He had a habit of targeting ships. He would act like he was lost, alone, deserted, that he was weak. Sailors would move in to take a look at the situation, and then he'd strike. Or he would try to find ships that were stranded or low on food or water and promise them goods if they went ashore. And then he would strike. He operated in Okay, you're not familiar. 1684 to about 1897. Quite an impressive run. His area wasn't the largest, but did have some of the highest population. He managed to always find enough blood for his followers. And they said he was very intelligent, very patient. He would choose ships wisely. He wouldn't attack every single one, since some had to get away. That way they would blame the missing ships on storms or mutinies. He eventually got captured after one of his own betrayed him. However, it's not unusual for such a thing to happen after 200 years. Seems one of his first turned was tired of following him. Apparently it caused quite a ruckus, almost like a civil war within that clan. And that's how the hunters got wind of it. They came by and took care of the rest. Do you remember all that? Let's try another one. What do you know about the vampire Long? It's alright if you don't know much about them. They were a very mysterious figure. No one's quite sure where they came from or where they went. There are rumors that they're still out there. Where do you think Long mostly worked out of? Let's see, it's covered up a bit. Here we are. Modern day Thailand. People think that they originally came from China and moved south, but we can't be sure of that. We're not even sure if Long was their proper name. Some people theorize that it's a mistranslation. They think Long meant that they ruled a long time, and they were called something having to do with that, but people misinterpreted the name and thought it was their name. We're not entirely sure what it is, that's just what we refer to them as. Part of the reason they're so mysterious is, do you know the years that they operated? We don't have many records of it. It's roughly 11,000 to 13. Very long time ago. Supposedly, they had a palace, and they had many, many servants, both vampire and non-vampire. They had a trade route that they followed. Long supposedly had a smaller amount of vampires at their disposal, but they wielded them very effectively. Legend states that Long simply disappeared one day. Some claim they walked into the ocean and were never seen again. It's difficult to tell since the records are so old. There's a theory that they're still out there. There are other theories stating that they never existed. We do have records of them, but they're so... what to say? They're not very detailed. I wonder if Long asked them not to make any detailed records about them. Interesting. Alright, how about another one? How about Omar? What do you know about him? I'll just show you right away. Is that... oh, here we go. Modern day Turkey. Mostly operated in that area. Omar was known for being very fashionable. He cared very much about his appearance. He liked to refer to himself as an emperor. He also had strict rules about the types of followers he could turn. It took many years before he would even consider turning someone into a vampire. His court was small, but powerful. He was one of the more social vampires. He socialized with monsters and humans alike. He operated from 1710 to around 1910. We're not entirely sure what happened to him. The hunter Siegfried claims that they took him out, but they don't have any proof of that. Oh, if you ever feel like seeing some artwork, you can go and visit the art center. Apparently he collected a lot of art, and some of it was recovered. It is in our school's art museum. So if you're an art lover, feel free to check it out sometime. Right, we went over Nigel, Long, and Omar. How about Sheila? What do you know about her? Okay, not much. She is one of the more modern day vampires. She was recently defeated. She was around from about 1803 to 2003. Her primary area of operation, modern day Canada. Apparently she liked the cold. She had a coven out in the middle of nowhere. They claim that their vampires fed off whales. She was one of the most isolated vampire leaders. She was defeated once satellite technology helped locate her compound. Some people didn't even know she was out there. Imagine that discovery. Her coven didn't have many followers, so it didn't take much power to defeat her. I almost feel bad. Those vampires are out there minding their own business. But that's what being a vampire hunter's all about. How about Mika? Let's see. They operated in Norway, modern day Norway. Not too much is known about Mika. He was very fond of boats. He liked to sail around. He didn't have a compound in one area. He would travel. He was a nomad. He operated from 1413 till 1613. He would sail around to find victims, or people to turn, or people to eat. They say he had a mighty ship, one that operated like a city. I don't think that's true. We found no evidence of it. Maybe he was just telling stories. The followers of Mika were very good at keeping records. We have a list of all the places he visited, people he turned, how many pints of blood they drank a day. It's all very well documented. He ended up somewhat defeating himself. His boat sank in a storm. Bit anticlimactic, but that's history for you. How about Lupe? Modern day Chile. Now she was quite impressive. She supposedly operated from 900 until 1100. One of the oldest covens in South America that we know about. She built many establishments. She had smaller pockets of vampires that ran themselves, while she maintained a high status as the leader over all of it. She was very good at delegating. Legends say that her followers built large farms and pastures and had all sorts of food, supposedly so that humans would want to live there. So the trick was, instead of eating one person, they would limit the amount of blood they drank so they could use the same person multiple times. Then non-vampires and vampires would live together. An odd system, but stories state that it worked rather well. As for being defeated, seems as though she, like some of the other leaders, just vanished one day. The current theory is that someone assassinated her. But it seems unlikely. Records state that she was fairly well liked by vampire and non-vampires alike. What do you think happened to her? Well, we can't know for sure. Everyone has their own ideas. There's one more we're going to look at. That is Jeff. What do you know about Jeff? I'll just point out where he operated. Mr. Jeff. He's from Australia. Jeff operated from 1789 until 1989. He was very odd. He didn't have a big group of vampires. He kept traveling, never stopping. He was very difficult to pin down. Eventually, he was exploded. He was lured into a trap where they had a bunch of dynamite and just blew him up. Apparently he was very fast and very clever, so they had to resort to very over-the-top methods of stopping him. I've always found vampire hunters' methods to be rather messy. Ghost hunters tend to be more delicate. But those were some of the most well-known vampires who lived or had groups for at least 200 years. It can be difficult to gather detailed information on such long-lived creatures. Some don't want to be documented. I'm sure it makes it easier to hide from hunters if you're under the radar. These will be the vampires that will be on your test. Since there are so many to know, your professor will want just basic details. I'll leave you a study guide. You can use this to study before your test. If you feel like you need more help, I'll be here. Or you could always have a study group with some of your classmates. This should be enough information to get you through that test. It was fun remembering my previous first-year class. I did get a perfect score in it, so I'm confident that you can at least get a C. It's not that difficult. It's mostly about memorization. The hard part is staying awake during class. That should be enough for today. I recommend you continue to study and get some sleep before you take your test. I hope you do well. And if you need any more help, just stop on by